Oh God, wow. Oh my God, am I just now figuring this out? Like, am I now just letting it all sink into my head? Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Jasper, what about here? The ThrashMetalGuru. Welcome back to my channel. Wow. So, as you can imagine from the title of the video, it's pretty much self-explanatory from that point. But let me just put into a perspective here is that the old saying is that, you know, if we don't learn from our mistakes, we're bound to repeat them. Or history itself is something that helps us reflect against those sort of mistakes that we would make as a human being, as a human species, you know, from the day and age, from war, famine, greed, all this other stuff together. We learn from these types of things and some things that makes us vulnerable as well. And so we progress on to that point now into the modern age of 2016. And I gotta tell you, we still struggle underneath those sort of mistakes in that day and age. I want to give a little bit of a background of a little bit of my experience with Lifeinatent, aka Brian Martin. I myself am not the only person who has had the experience of having to deal with an argument or a debate with this sort of person who, in my opinion, is a complete fucking phony, who happens to not only have this period of harassing people, pissing people off, and doing all these stupid, ridiculous things that you could even well imagine. But he's also had his history of scams, pyramid schemes, all this crap. Oh yeah, and he's probably gonna yell his ass off. Why are you digging back into the past? It doesn't matter. Well, guess what? It comes into tail now. The past and that sort of karma is catching right up to you. But when history, like itself, repeats itself from that point in time right into this, you get what you get. You get what you deserve, and if it bites you in the ass, it bites you in the ass. But I myself am not the only one who's had these debates and arguments. People like Mr. Repsion, people like Undertaker Freak 1127, people like Outback Zach, people like Blackbuster Critic, the Archfiend. All these other people have had their experiences with dealing with Brian Martin. And so, you know, I find it kind of odd and fascinating because he happens to run a channel called Video Games, I guess, from what I remember, because I do recall seeing one video from this channel, is that I guess he did like some sort of voiceover in this Minecraft sort of episode. And apparently from what I've received from an anonymous source, two of them by the way, two anonymous sources, they all linked me the same type of video that was made by Mr. Repsion, even though these are at two different times at that point in time. And so, what got to this point is that Brian Martin, the scumbag that I should have put in my top 10 worst YouTube channels list, has indeed sunk into an all-time low, because now he is in debt to $2 million being sued in court. Brian Martin, if you're ever watching this, I know you're gonna, for a fact, you're gonna get very extraordinarily upset, and over that countless measures of money that you have to keep going off and off and off again to pay off that sort of stuff after all the incidents with the content, according from the Lincoln article, that you got to pay off now. So good luck, because the last thing on your mind right now, you know, the last thing you need to worry about is people like me, Mr. Repsion, and other people finally saying, you know what, guess what, people had enough of your shit. Well, guess what? A lot of people have had enough of your shit, including me. So good luck when you ever watch these videos, because right now you are nowhere clear to the resources you are going to need to do anything right now, because you need to really really start paying, because it's gonna bite you in the ass. And you've had this coming for a long time, and I've kept my mouth shut, I've held my breath, I have done everything I possibly could just to keep clear of you. But you know what? When history itself repeats, there you are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of break off the rule bending here a little bit. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to read from the article, which I will also link down in the description below, about this sort of thing. It's also from Engadget.com. That's the link, the article regarding the events regarding
Brian Martin, and I guess there was another person that's involved in this said content incident. So let's go ahead and read. So we are going into court awards $2 million in YouTube channel dispute, fighting over control of a video feed that can prove costly. And there's about 8 comments that are shown right after. YouTube channels can be tremendous things when everything goes according to plan, but things can get really truly ugly. When their creators disagree with each other. Brandon Keating and David Ty Moss have won both a $2 million award in controlling interest in a YouTube channel, video games, after suing their former partners in the project, Brian Martin and Marco Princip. Allegedly, Martin and Princip committed fraud by reneging on a 2012 agreement that gave Keating and Moss partial control over revenue from video games videos. So it's bad enough that Brian Martin had his pyramid schemes back in the day, but guess what? He does fraud yet again, even though he even said that even though those fraud attempts, when he found out about it and he wanted to get out of it, well, you committed fraud in 2012. It's apparently fucking clear that you simply did not learn from these mistakes, and you decided to tread down that fucking path again. Seriously. You want to know what the sad part is? I really thought there was more to you that would make you more of a better human being, but no, you sucked down to another all-time fucking low. Okay, so the defendants not only avoided making payments according to the lawsuit, but kept the plaintiffs entirely out of the loop. At one point, Princip even handed out control of the channel to a child without telling Keating or Moss what happened. So basically, you went behind people's backs, giving control of a channel to a child. What? The lawsuit is unsurprisingly one-sided and should have been taken with a grain of salt, but neither of the defendants have sterling online reputations. Well, to an unfortunate extent, Brian Martin has, a notorious reputation as not only a fraud, but also someone who's exploited the Japanese earthquake. I don't know why I get right back into that, but he's also notorious for screaming at people, doxing and, exploiting personal information about people. Mr. Repsion, of course, for that instance. He's also had clashings with Undertaker Freak 1127, in which, thank God to Mr. Repsion and Undertaker Freak 1127, that I was also able to help see past the bullshit that Lifeinatent, or aka Brian Martin, was doing, because I was a former subscriber back in the days when Lifeinatent was around, and this was about 5 years ago. So I was about 18 at the time. This could be 6 years ago. So, being kind of in my teenage adult years, I was a little bit more impressionable than what I am now, because I can see more clearly and I'm not that fucking gullible anymore. The lawsuit is unsurprisingly one-sided. I already read that part. Princip has seen multiple channels banned for violating YouTube's guidelines, and it appears to have stopped producing for the site altogether. Martin, meanwhile, has been accused of paying for bots, no fucking surprise there, to fame critics for cheating on video views and creating channels after getting the boot. Now, after those claims that I've made before, when I've had my my verbal disputes with Brian Martin, about creating multiple channels in regards to certain videos, when you look at stuff like this, it kind of just makes you feel more confident to the point of what you were arguing back then, or basically what I'm saying is what I've been arguing back in the day, which kind of just strengthens the whole suspicion that I've had about him ever since. Okay, one thing's for sure, as YouTube has grown to include more professionally produced content, it's also inheriting the bitter legal action that's all too common in conventional media. That's enough money at stake. Video Games has over 3.3 million subscribers as of this post, that producers can get into fights over sums of money that would have been unthinkable several years ago. So giving control, or having control from this sort of person who's been using this content from another channel, someone using that sort of control over that from Brian Martin is a very dangerous thing to be doing. Holy shit. And that is, in fact, the end of it. So I'm safe to put this down right here. But yeah, that is the sort of issue that goes on with someone who can't seem to unravel his own shackles. You know, he can't shake that sort of thing from his mind, and it has to go through him. He has to go right back to where he started. He's right back to square one, and technically he's not really back at square one. He's now behind that, in the square point of zero, where zero is nothing, because now he's in debt of $20 million. I hope you're real proud of yourself, Brian Martin. And not to get too off topic, but I did notice that post on Facebook, by the way, when you announced me as a conversation from a former hater. Yeah, you know what? To the point, I fucking hate you so much for the stupid shit that you did, because I can't believe that someone like me ever subscribed to a person like you who would cheat the system, lie to your fans, verbally abuse people, yelling because you can't have your way, going out of your way to reveal personal information about people, contradict yourself, especially in front of me, because you're telling me that I was catering to UTF about trying to get his channel back, when all of a sudden you and your girlfriend, or if you're still together, that's the case, were getting onto my case a little bit for what I was doing for UTF. In the little hate group that I had on Facebook, which wasn't even ran by me, and I never gave this person fucking permission to begin with. Yeah, I'm kind of spilling all that out again because history itself just fucking repeated itself. So yeah, people don't fucking want you back. Especially in this case for me. And there's a whole lot of other people that can agree with me when they say that they're glad that you will never come back. And good luck trying to go out against everyone that speaks their opinion about you, because you do not have the fucking resources to do that right now, because you are already in deep shit. It's time you start repaying your debt and doing us all the favor and staying the fuck away from YouTube. You've already trashed it. You already made it the cancer that it is, along with us. It's bad enough that we already have mediocrity within YouTube, but you yourself, Brian Martin, have already fucked it up. The bots, the lying, the abuse, all that sort of shit. People are fucking tired of you. They don't even know why you came back to begin with. Using the fucking content, abusing it, not paying the share, using bots, giving a control of a channel to a child or to someone that didn't really give you permission to begin with, according to this. Ugh. So I'm just gonna fucking end it off on you just saying, go fuck yourself, dude. I don't know why people, still look into your stuff. I want to say this directly to Mr. Epsilon. Thank you, by the way, for bringing this up. Now, I will admit, when I made my video about you back then about, I guess, lying to your fans, I'm trying to look past that point. I have actually subscribed to you again, and I'm not playing the blind, leading the blind, or, the sheep or anything, but I'm willing to let bygones be bygones, and I should have done that a long time ago, so I'm willing to give that another chance. And, I don't like to usually just go back to all those other things, but I'm willing to give that a chance. But I wanted to say thank you, Mr. Epsilon, for also telling about this, and there's about maybe 2 other channels so far that have shed light on this sort of story. So, if I get shit from Lifeinatent, well, Brian Martin, I will just appropriately say, then I'm just going to say he's got a lot more to worry about than just me, Mr. Epsilon, and so much other people. So I'm done with my little rant about that little... No, not little. I'm really done with that douche. And not to mention, he's back on my top 10 worst channels list. So, you know what? I think that's another step closer for my full list. So, Brian Martin, you can go fuck yourself. And I'm pretty much done at this point. Links are going to be down in the description for the source right here. I will catch you guys later. This is Joshua, the ThrashMetalGuru. Have yourself a good night. Nightwing, motherfucker.